This is my official Souls/Souls-like game ranking. Now, I haven't finished Dark Souls 1 to a Demon Souls, so I've played a bit of Demon Souls and a bit of Dark Souls 1. I think they're absolutely the worst games ever. So, coming in at last place is unfortunately Bloodborne, and tied with that is Dark Souls 3. I think these are both perfectly fine games. They are 7 out of 10s in my mind, but they have so many problems that I just can't ignore them, and they are on the same level to me. If someone's speaking to me about Bloodborne and I tell them my thoughts on it, it will usually sound like I'm the most negative person on this game. But I always come out saying that it is a 7 out of 10. I do overall like this game. I think the environments are the best in the whole entire franchise. I think this world is by far the most intriguing, and the lore and the world building itself is really excellent. It's just really fun to traverse through. I think the level design is sometimes great. But God, the sense of direction in this game is absolutely horrible. I mean, most of the bosses aren't very good or creative. They're just a massive big blob monster. The combat is fun and it's fast, but sometimes it's almost too fast for how the game feels and plays, so it's a little bit inconsistent. It doesn't feel great all the time. It doesn't feel like a fair trade or a fair fight. And then the healing system is the worst system in all of gaming. The fact that you literally have to grind heals every single time you die is absolutely ridiculous, and it cannot be understated how bad that is and how much of a detrimental thing that is to the game. The runbacks and the enemies are the worst it's like almost ever been. The runbacks are so bad. The sense of direction is so bad. It almost plays like a Resident Evil game at sometimes, where you have to get this key to go somewhere else, to go here, and that doesn't work with the formula of Souls games, unfortunately. And Dark Souls 3, there's almost like not really much to talk about this game because it's a bit of a nothing burger. You traverse through the world, it almost feels like a Death Stranding simulator. You get to the bosses, it's not so rewarding because most of them aren't, anything great. Pontiff and Nameless King are good, and I'm not including the DLC. We're not doing this on this list because they're not the game. That's additional content. But yeah, it's fine. The level design is really bad. The sense of direction can be bad, just like most of these games. But the level design is on a new level of bad. It's just not great. It's a really kind of boring. It's short. It's just not all around great, but it's just a solid Souls game. It is. And again, I can't decide. We have another very close tie. I'm going with Sekiro and another Crab's Treasure. Sekiro undoubtedly does have the best combat in the entire franchise, and if you say otherwise, you're rage baiting, you're contrarian, and you're coping, and you don't want to admit that. Like, most people will tell you it is the best combat system in the franchise, and not only that, I think it's one of the greatest combat systems in all of gaming, and that also is almost undoubtedly, correct. I mean, just the Makiri counter itself is by far the most satisfying thing you will do in any Souls game. Once you actually get the handle of how the combat flows and all the counters that you can do and jumping on the heads and the timing and the parrying, it just flows so fucking well. It's the most satisfying combat in the franchise. Again, the sense of direction is really bad when you get to the second half of the game. Like, sometimes it's not, and it just is really linear in a good way. And the first half of the game, honestly, was somewhat linear, and I was really enjoying that aspect of it. But sometimes it assumes that you know exactly where to go. You have to go back to the start of the game and talk to this woman, and then go there and talk to that woman. And it's like, not everyone is paying attention to every single bit of lore because no one's really here for the story because it doesn't tell you the story. So it's a bit of a compromising itself situation there. So that's not great. The grappling also hardly works when you want it to work sometimes. Like, sometimes you'll be from a distance that you can grapple there, but it just will not do it, and you're going to have to spam it so many times. So many frustrating deaths to that. It was very annoying. Also, I think the levels are quite good sometimes, but a lot of the time they aren't, and they just throw a bunch of enemies at you and say, this is hard, this is why it's hard, and it's like, it's not actually hard, it's just you've done that for the sake of artificial difficulty. You've just thrown a whole gang of enemies at me. It's not really a challenge, it's just kind of pointless and pathetic. Some of the greatest bosses in all of gaming, though. Don't want to spoil them if you haven't played. I mean, everyone knows the final boss. Yes, he is one of the greatest and one of the hardest bosses of all time. So, such a moment of relief and joy, but you've enjoyed the ride of the several hours you've just spent fighting the boss. It's one of those type of ones in the best way. And what Another Crab's Treasure has on all of these games is it's actually a story with a character that you care about, with a world that's exploring themes that is so fucking well done. It's actually Krill's a character that not only is good, but is actually kind of excellent. I was rooting for this character the whole time, his motivations and everything. Could actually connect with the character and the world. The level design is great. Some of the bosses are the best I've seen in the franchise. I mean, it's visually one of the most pleasing games in the franchise. My phone went low. Lol, I'm not editing that. It's just all around a great game. It mixes platforming with it sometimes, and sometimes it's a little basic. I could have asked for a little bit more of it, but it was still an interesting mix up. Just really fun. One of the funnest games. It's also like only like 14 hours or so, so it's quick for a Souls game, and it's just so much fun. Also, sometimes the game does stutter and like absolutely freeze your game sometimes in certain areas, and there's nothing you can do about it. It doesn't happen a lot, but it is something that did drag down the game a little bit. Forgot to mention, it also has one of the best upgrade systems where no matter what one you want to pump your points into, it's all worth it. The looting and the just the items in general were really useful and actually fun, and the variety and the way you parry in this game is also really fun. And this one's either like tied or slightly above those two that I last said, is Elden Ring. Elden Ring is, yes, it is actually such a great game. That first experience playing it really hooks you and makes you want to play other Souls games. It is great. Some of the bosses are fantastical. This world that it builds is sometimes great. The art style is excellent. The music at times can be top notch. The pacing at times can be bad. I will admit there are times where you've just fought 3 bad bosses in a row, and the levels in between aren't really innovative, so it gets a little bit like, okay, but then it picks up and it just keeps on going and it keeps on getting better, so you just have to pump through some of those badly paced moments throughout the game, but it is undoubtedly great. The combat is simple, it's great. I mean, the areas sometimes can be abysmal, like the snow area. It's not fun to explore. It's not rewarding. Also, Caelid is absolutely fucking terrible and depressing. And don't give me that. He was Miyazaki's vision. Yeah, he knew what he was doing. He wanted it to be depressing. It was just bad. It was just bad. And some of the bosses are among some of the worst in all of gaming. It's undoubtable. The Fire Giant, Godskin Duo, Renala. Like, come on, guys. These are some of the bosses in the game that are actually terrible. And another thing that I did not like about this game is the final boss is awful as well. I mean, both phases aren't great, but especially the Elden Beast is absolutely terrible, especially when you couldn't get on your horse, man. My God, is it a nightmare. But fantastic game. It's great. And Lies of P, man, I think takes the best version of every single one of the Souls games and puts it into one. It's like a refined version of all the best parts of every Souls game and Souls-likes. It's also kind of a story. It kind of tells you it most of the time, and it's like, I appreciate that. And by far, this is the best world, apart from maybe Bloodborne, but I think I prefer this. This is obviously taking a little bit of inspiration of Bioshock, so the look of the game I think is the best in the franchise by far. That Bioshock aesthetic it works so well for me. Obviously, it's my second favorite game of all time, so of course it does. Pinocchio is great. Some of the twists and turns are great. Some of the best bosses. I think this is the best boss lineup in the franchise. It's got a lot of replayability. So do all these games to an extent, but this one I think it's got a lot of replayability. The music can sometimes be excellent, sometimes a little underwhelming, but sometimes it can be excellent. And the best thing that stands from this game and the other games is the level design, and the in-between is actually really good. Like, the levels are so memorable and great that it's not just talking about the bosses in the video game. It's like the in-between needs to be good, and it actually is, and I think that is what puts this at the #1 spot. Also, as the most replayable game, I think it is Sekiro. I mean, I've played it like 5 or 6 times, but I just think the way the game is paced when you've already played it, and just learning the mechanics of the game just becomes so easy to replay in like a certain amount of hours. It doesn't take very long. It's just easy to just jump in and play. So I think this is the most replayable game. But yeah, that's my Souls ranking so far. I will be playing more. I'll be playing Dark Souls 1, 2, and Demon Souls one day, maybe soon. We'll see. And if you want me to, talk about any other franchises, comment down below. But this is so far my ranking of the Souls games. I know you guys are going to get angry because Elden Ring wasn't #1 and Bloodborne was at the bottom, but sorry, goodbye.